And guys, this video is brought to you by CobraSwap. Now live on the Binance Smart Chain, you can swap, stake and earn on CobraSwap for extremely lucrative rewards. Now CobraSwap is Venom DAO's latest initiative after establishing ViperSwap, Harmony's leading decentralized exchange. Head over to cobra.exchange and start earning rewards today. Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today we're going to be taking a look at Cardano and Ethereum. And is Cardano the Ethereum killer that it is made out to be? As we get into the video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. We both really do appreciate that here. And of course, if you're new, do subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and you will not miss another Cardano update. Right, with all that said and out of the way, let's jump on down to the desktop and start taking a look at what is going on with both Cardano and Ethereum. Okay guys, so what we're really going to do is we're going to focus in on a couple of things. So for those who do not know, we actually recently had the privilege of welcoming Dr. Ben Goertzel to the show, where we basically talk about everything artificial intelligence, SingularityNet, AGI, and obviously SingularityNet is currently running on Ethereum, but they are also building on the Cardano ecosystem. So during the interview, and I will link it into the end of this video so you can catch up with that one, Ben actually goes into a lot of detail comparing the two systems together. So we're actually going to take a few snippets from Ben in this video so you can actually kind of get a bit of an overview from him directly, who has built both on the Cardano system but also the Ethereum system, and hopefully give you a bit of an insight as to why he is making the switch and why he is so bullish on Cardano. So let's kick things off by really getting into this piece here, right? So we'll do is we'll just click play on this.
I think we're seeing exactly that, right? I mean, in 2017, you could see the promise of decentralized networks, but think our initial token sale almost couldn't go because of crypto kitties like clogging up the whole Ethereum network, right?
Yeah. So obviously what he's talking about here in this particular snippet is all about how congestion and scalability just wasn't there back in 2017. And some of his initial issues in terms of the initial coin offering, all of the initial sales for AGI back then almost couldn't go ahead just because of the technology just wasn't really there. It wasn't fast enough, wasn't quick enough, and it wasn't able to scale the way that it needed to, right? And again, this is actually compounds this effect, and one of the main catalysts for why Ben was so keen to kind of move over. Now, obviously, the next thing we want to kind of talk about is this one here, right? So I want to just play this little clip for you.
I mean, yeah, people use Ethereum because it's more built out, but actually that's like dinosaur grade technology by now. Now, maybe they'll upgrade Ethereum so that it joins the club of fast, cheap, scalable blockchains, right? But I think that the Plutus smart contract framework in Cardano is more interesting and goes beyond just being a fast, cheap blockchain, because it gives you a sort of more flexible, usable, and secure tool for implementing blockchain-based applications. I mean, you can't say Solidity is intrinsically insecure, but you can say that it certainly gives developers a lot of rope to hang themselves with, right? Like in Solidity, it's easier to write an insecure than a secure application. And I'd say in Plutus, it's easier to write a secure than an insecure application.
And this is a really important point to kind of really focus in on, guys, because what Ben is basically talking about is that you have lots of potential issues with Solidity. If you do not know what you're doing, you'll have actually more chance to do something wrong and write that insecure code. Lots of rope to hang yourself with is his exact phrase. And then he compares that to Plutus, right? Haskell and everything that's going on there. It's actually harder to write that insecure code. It's actually very, very easy to write the secure version of the code. It's obviously not impossible to write an insecure version. But later in this particular interview, I'm not going to play the clip for you, but he does go into a lot more detail than just this, where he basically explains about how you can actually prove that the smart contract is doing what it's supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be able to verify it whilst creating the smart contract. And you can do this with Cardano, but you cannot do it with Solidity and with Ethereum. So the reason that this is really important, guys, is obviously we talk about quite a bit, 100 companies ready to leave Ethereum for Cardano. And this is a really important thing to kind of point out, right? Because it's all well and good reading an article like this, and hypothetically, there's 100 companies ready to move from one ecosystem to another. But I think a lot of people overlook the actual reasoning behind why. And people and businesses want to leave not only just because it's slow, it's expensive, but also, as Ben was basically highlighting there, it's easier to write insecure code than secure code. And as we get into some of these other snippets that we have from Ben, he goes into a few other pieces of detail as to why you might want to actually move over to somewhere where it's actually a little bit more efficient, faster, cheaper, and more secure, amongst other things. So check the interview out, guys, because you will learn a lot more about Ethereum and Cardano, comparing the two, Solidity, Haskell, and learning about how these ecosystems do actually compare at the technical level from someone who is actually developed on both of them. So really important, right? So 100 companies, I see this as actually being a lot more than 100 companies in the end. I think once you actually start playing around with the testnet, Haskell, Plutus code, smart contracts, all this kind of good stuff, it becomes very apparent why you would move over and why you wouldn't look back at Ethereum. Now, there is a few other things that we also want to kind of just point out and really have a look at. There's this little snippet here.
What's interesting is I think you could do that using Toda, but you could then have that Singularity chain, right? You could have that interact with Cardano using the Hydra interface.
Mm-hmm.
But that's an example of how Cardano has thought things very well.
And what he is talking about here, very small snippet, guys, so do check the actual interview out in detail. It is an hour long, but it is worth it, lots of insight. But with this particular snippet, what he's talking about here is how Cardano at the moment can't have a million AI bots out there, basically, creating themselves, and then obviously have another AI come out there destroying some, recreating, and so forth, right? Swarms of AI bots and algorithms. Cardano is cheap and it's fast, but it's not cheap and fast enough yet. And obviously, what in this particular snippet, what Ben is talking about is basically being able to actually leverage and push up Cardano. Maybe in the future they'll build and develop to a point where Cardano is actually able to do this. But what he's talking about here is how he's also playing around with a couple of his friends with a specific special kind of blockchain that allows just this, cheap, fast enough to basically have swarms of AI that can then be picked up and brought into the Cardano ecosystem through the Hydra solution. And again, what we've spoken about this 100 times over, we specifically talk about Hydra as this 1 million transactions per second kind of throughput. And this is the kind of speed and scalability that is required to do exactly what Dr. Ben Goertzel is talking about in that particular example. But this is just one of so many companies that will be building upon the Cardano ecosystem and leveraging the technology that is Cardano. And the Haskell code, the smart contract platform, everything that is due to kind of come out and get delivered, including the Hydra solution, is going to be what causes this catalyst effect for Cardano and push the price of ADA to those significantly higher levels that we've kind of been expecting and anticipating. And I'm not thinking specifically 2021, but I'm also thinking incredibly long term. With everything that Cardano has been able to achieve in such a short space of time right now, thinking another 5 years from now, where is Cardano likely to be? Where is all of that extra development, the Hydra solution, the governance, and the scalability, everything? Obviously, onboarding. We talk about Fortune 500s. We talk about all of these fantastic countries that are also now looking at blockchain technologies. And obviously, it starts with Ethiopia. We obviously see World Mobile, Tanzania. There's going to be loads of places in Africa alone that are at a particular constant, but let alone Europe and everywhere else. I think ultimately Cardano is on a very good path, and in the next 10 years is going to be absolutely critical for that development of the adoption of the Cardano ecosystem. And obviously loads of people in the space, and I say loads, it's probably actually a relatively small amount of loud people talking about how Cardano is a ghost chain, has nothing built upon it, doesn't deserve its market capitalization that it has, etc., etc., etc. And again, these particular people unfortunately fail to understand some of the very basics of this space. One, market capitalization is a simple calculation of the last sold price multiplied by circulating supply. So again, that isn't actually a good representation of the value, because, market capitalization is basically only representing price and is not representing underlying value. So if they need to really understand that to start with before they even have an argument. And then obviously the fact that it's a ghost chain, sure, it's got nothing built on it just yet, right? It's got very few things built on it. That being said, though, once we start seeing this smart contract on the 12th of September, there's going to be many dApps built on it, because many of them are actually already in existence. They're on the Ethereum network, and they're going to be moving over to the Cardano ecosystem. We see this with Singularity Net. We can see it with Singularity DAO, NewNet. We're going to start seeing basically a heavily integrated artificial intelligence platform like Singularity Net embedded into the Cardano ecosystem. And in that interview, I actually asked Ben, what they're obviously leveraging from Cardano, but what is Cardano also leveraging from the artificial intelligence, right? Because it's a two-way street, right? Information flows everywhere. And obviously, the more data that goes into an ecosystem, the more data that the artificial intelligence will have access to, and so forth, right? So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy to a degree. I think it's important that we obviously acknowledge that right now we're at the very beginning of a journey for smart contracts and everything that is going to be built upon the Cardano ecosystem. That being said, to even get to this point has taken years of real good hard work, peer-reviewed research, etc., to build a decent blockchain without rushing something to market that just simply isn't ready, without opening risk to people who are building upon the ecosystem, where it's harder to write insecure code than secure code, right? This is a critical statement for what has been built with Cardano, and hats off to Charles Hoskinson for being able to deliver on such a blockchain technology. This is truly next gen. Right. And it's important that we obviously acknowledge everything that has happened previously and how Cardano kind of got to this point. And, the long-term prospects for all those people who are invested in ADA, right? Thinking that we are appreciating the price. Yes, we're appreciating the price. We're in a bull run. And in these particular cycles, the prices will go up. Obviously, we have price expectations, as you all guys will know on the channel. We're talking $7, $20, $10 for ADA this year, beginning of next year, right? That's the price expectations according to the Fibonacci retracement tool and the extension of the 4.236. That is just technical data that's out there, right? Of course, that's just one bull run. Where are we going to be in 2025? Where are we going to be in 2030? We're not talking about small price change on small time frames. As a long-term investor, finding solid projects with solid tech, with solid teams behind them, is what really excites me about changing the world for the better. And that's exactly what you get here with Cardano. And as an investor of this, I'm helping Cardano change the world. I'm helping with the decentralization effort of Cardano by staking and running a validator ourselves on the channel. Guys, hopefully you have found this video useful and informative. I really wanted to kind of just go through some of the fantastic insights that Ben had shared with us in our interview with him, and obviously the experience of building on both Ethereum and Cardano, and why I do think Cardano will be Ethereum in the long run. Hopefully you have found it useful. If you have, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, then do go ahead and subscribe. By subscribing, you will be kept up to date with everything. Tap the bell, select all notifications, and you won't miss a thing. Guys, with all that said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next one.